Alright, so welcome back to part two of this review to do with Cuties. Um, this movie made by this Senegalese um, director. This was a director debut, so just all that stuff there. I'm not going to rehash everything I mentioned because you might as well just watch part one if anything. But anyway, so back to this thing now, right? Like, imagine I have to make a part two. Like, I shouldn't have to make a part two. This doesn't make sense. But in reality, it is what it is. Alright, so with this movie now, with parents, the parents are meant to guide their children, and you see what I mean? Because my foster mom, one thing that I really salute her for doing from a very young age, I actually do remember her always like being that woman or being that person in general, really, to just allow me to express myself and ask questions and be open. Do you see what I mean? So she made it comfortable enough for me to open up and express myself and all that stuff there, and ask certain questions that I felt need answers to and all that stuff there. So I'm fortunate. I was very fortunate being raised. So this was prior to being 11 years old. I'm talking about prior. So if she did that from an early age, and parents should generally do that. Do you see what I mean? Parents should do that. Whether you're the mum or dad, you should do that with your children. They should come to you. And that's another thing in this movie as well. You don't see the dad. Yeah? And what happens generally with daughters is they have this sort of energy with their dads that is none other. It's a type of bond that you don't really see with mothers and daughters. I mean, you do see it, but the type of bond is kind of different. It's hard to explain, right? And yeah, the mother should be teaching the daughter how to be a woman and all that stuff there, and guiding her, all that stuff there. Because even there's one scene where Army, or whatever her name is, she ends up going on a period or whatever, having a period for the first time. And like, what was interesting about that particular scene was when her mom found out. I think her auntie found out first, and then she helped her with the situation. But then she laughed first. I don't get the laughing bit, but the mom found out, and the mom's like, "Oh, you're a woman now." Huh? So she's a woman because she gets her period. She now finally got that don't make sense to me. But anyway, you know what I mean? It's about the traits within that, building those traits and helping them develop those traits. And unfortunately, sometimes I won't get into the schools and mainstream schools, but they don't teach certain things. You see what I mean? Which, again, let me get back to the father of the situation. So she feels neglected by her dad, and because of that, she can't go to her mom because she feels like her mom can't do nothing. Do you see what I mean? So it's a situation where she's trying to seek comfort in something. Do you see what I mean? Something, and she found dancing as her comfort. She found those friends that first were not really friends, they were bullying her. You see what I mean? Even though she was interested. But anyway, that's another thing as well, like the bullying and all that stuff there. But overall, I'm gonna give this movie a 1 out of 10. I definitely recommend do not watch it. But I will say it's very important that you understand your role as a parent. Extremely important, because for one, let me deep this real quick, right? For one, technology is always going to improve and things are going to happen, right? But the one thing as a parent that's always going to remain the same is you and your role. as either a mother or a father. Yeah, your role will always remain the same from the get-go. And what's interesting is, I was watching the interview prior that day from watching Cuties with Akon's mother, yeah, like Hattie, like she was interviewing her mum, and it's called the talk thing's called What's the Side or something like that. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah. So she mentioned something that was very, very, very interesting. She mentioned there's a difference between raising your child in Africa versus, raising, different between raising your child in Africa and raising your child in America. Yeah, she just happened to raise her child in America, but still took her children back to Africa or back to Senegal now and again. So, and she makes sure that she taught her children their culture, yeah, their language, yeah, to the point that in the interview, and even in the one with Akon as well, they're speaking Senegalese. Do you see what I mean? Which is very, very important. I like the fact that they're able to speak their language. I say Senegalese, but I'm pretty sure that's not the actual name of the language, because I believe every tribe has a different language. But anyway, so it's just interesting how she mentioned the differences, yeah, and it's about what really stood out again. Well, I say again, but with Akon's mother's interview, like she did say, it takes a village to raise a child. So if you're out, if the child is out, you're gonna ask the question, or they're gonna ask the question. Whoever sees them, what are you doing out? Where's your parents? Blah blah blah. Even I got that growing up in London, in the UK. Even though I was raised by a Jamaican foster mother, whenever I would go out, most of the time, they would ask, do you see what I mean? Where she is, blah blah blah. Now and again, do you see what I mean? And I would have to tell them, you know what I mean? Like, she sent me to the shop, lad. Not like that, but you see what I mean? So, yeah, so then they're like, oh, tell your mum I said hi, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So just one of them things, isn't it? So my thing is, what was I saying? I was trying to make a point. Yeah, so with that Akon's mom's interview that she mentioned about in America, you can't have that conversation with, someone else's child like that, because they're gonna be like, who you're talking to, blah blah. They're just gonna be rude to you. Do you see what I mean? And there's nothing you can do about it. Do you see what I mean? There's literally nothing you can do about it. But back in Africa, there is something you can do about it. Do you see what I mean? If they do try to get rude to you, but more time they won't want to get rude to you, or to an elder. They just wouldn't want to. That's if they're raised, because it's like, it's so interesting, the dynamics of raising your children wherever, right? So, and it's just interesting how they're both Senegalese. So Akon's mom's Senegalese, and this director is Senegalese as well. And obviously they're two separate people. I want you to get that straight. They're two different people. These are two separate things, but it's just the parallel, yeah? Because Western society in America is similar to Western society in France. Western society in Britain is similar to that in France and similar to that in America. Now, the point I'm trying to drive home is culture, tradition, all that stuff there. As much as it's nice to migrate and mingle with other people, sometimes home is best where it's at. So it's best to raise your children where you are from. It's as simple as that. Learn what you got to learn that. But the key here, in regards to this documentary, not documentary, I would have liked to have called it a documentary. In fact, you know what? Before I even forget, I nearly forgot. Wow. Give me a second. Because there was something she mentioned in her thing, and I thought, alright, so basically, so what, if you watch the thing yet, the interview or the director mentioning about why she made the film, she basically mentions it imposed, the movie is more or less about, can women choose the paths beyond the role model, choose their paths beyond the role models they are posed upon us in society? That's a really good question. Can they? The question is down to the parents, yeah? And when I say it's down to the parents, the first role model is the parents. Do you understand? So if they are growing up in a society or a culture that is traditional to, and you know, that is based around, if they're growing up around a society that is based around the culture, then, and it's not in conflict with other cultures or other societies, then it's a lot more easier. But it's more complex when you bring in other cultures. Now the other thing is, well, is the internet with social media. Kids shouldn't be on social media, point blank. They just shouldn't. Yeah, so that's another thing. Another thing that she also mentions is easy access to adult content. Now, again, it all comes down to parenting. Yeah, it all, like, I remember, yeah, even though the internet is now more accessible, that you can still put parental locks on certain things. Outside of school, I mean, outside of home, it's gonna be a bit difficult, understandable, but at the same time, you can control what's within your environment. There's certain things you can do. The other thing is, she mentioned the film is a mirror of today's society, and that's just how it goes. You know, there's even in music, right? Some people used to criticize music and say, "Oh, why is there always violence in music? Blah blah blah." Well, it's just a reflection of society. If we don't like it, then change society. You know how you change society? You learn how to develop yourself as a parent, and you know what you do? To do that, click the link in the description box below and to become a member of the Cuties. When you do that, you get access to online courses such as roles and relationship. Nope, it's not in that course there. You get access to online courses such as parenting. In that course, that's where you're going to learn all the vital piece of information that you need to know so you can actually prevent these situations from happening again. Like I said, I don't agree with the exploitation of children to get across this message, but it exists, unfortunately. But we can prevent that from going on further on in life, and it starts with you. If you're that outraged about it, if you're that outraged, use that outrage and use that energy to develop how to become the best version of a parent that you can be. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And you can't say, "I'm a good parent already," blah blah blah. No, have an open mind, learn more. Yeah, because when you learn more, you're able to grow more, and you'll be able to, you know, generally help your children develop. Because if your children is not coming up to you, asking you questions, or feeling comfortable to talk to you about literally anything, then you are doing something wrong. Deep that for a minute. If they're not comfortable enough to come up to you to tell you anything, then you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. Yes, I understand that some kids, they may not like talking, blah blah blah. I get that. But if they're not talking to you about it, or what they're going through and whatever the case is, they're going to be talking to someone else about it. And they are going to impose their beliefs and everything else. Like, if they're clear in the movie, Amy was inspired by the girl she saw, and one thing led into another thing, and her mum was not really focused on her daughter, on her. Her mum wasn't focused on her. Just wasn't. Not even her auntie was focused on her either. Do you see what I mean? I know you can't like be with your children 24/7. I understand that, but from the very beginning, in fact, listen, I've said too much. Yeah, all I'm gonna say, just click the link in the description box below where it says become a member of the Thealkebulantrust. When you do that, you will get access to online courses such as parenting, like I keep on stressing. Click become a member, get into that course, learn everything you need to know so you can truly help prevent these problems from happening again. Yeah, you want to talk about save our children? Starts with you.